Hey there, Heather Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Degrassiism. This Degrassiism is another poll video I've done, and I did this 12 days ago. This post 12 days ago, and for context, it's June 17th, 2023. It says the most underrated Degrassi storyline poll. Now, this isn't really my idea at first. It was thanks to Inevitable underscore Boxes 1279's poll. I found 6 good storylines that were underrated, and I wanted the Degrassi Reddit community to chime in on which one was the best. So there were some comments, which I will get to at the end of the video in a sense. Alright, so 240 people voted for this. And first place did quite well. Every one of the 6 got at least 16 votes, so it was not that bad. Alright, so these are underrated storylines of all time. Alright, so number 6 on the list with 16 votes is Ashley, Paige, and Spinner skipping school in season 3 in the homage to Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Paige and Spinner decide to skip school to see Terry in the hospital because, the after effects of Terry being hurt by Rick and all that. Soon they decide to invite a moody Ashley who for some reason decides not to go to school and all that, and her mom's at her wit's end trying to help Ashley deal with her problems, especially with Craig. That's not for the fact that Ashley, I think, wanted to stay with Craig and all that. And Ashley's mom said maybe you should switch schools and all that. Ashley, I think, didn't want to stay at Degrassi because of what Craig did to her and all that. Paige and Spinner convince Ashley to skip school with them. And they do so. They bump into Raditch at a restaurant. Of course, they duck out before they pay for their food and all that. That actually would be continuing in the season 3 finale when at prom Jimmy notices that there's extra food on his bill. Yes, it's for the 3 dinners that were not paid for by your party the time before. Oh, brother. Oh, Ashley's Paige and Spinner. When will you ever learn? Yeah, Paige does tell Ashley that it's her that makes the decisions, not Craig. She should not be kicking herself for what Craig did to her. She's better than that. And she should stop being moody. So they decided to go to an Elvis competition, and Ashley does quite well. And, Ashley's mom's like, where's this Ashley from before and all that? It says Ashley's sanity has left the room. And, Ashley's much better, and her mom's happy about it. Of course, what happens is that this episode was also, the subplot also was huge because Emma and JT are forced to de-ghost computers and all that, and Emma can't get Alex off hers. So Emma decides to do Snake's laptop and then finds a will on his laptop and panics. Wants to find Snake. Can't find him, and Mr. Perito, who's kind of filling in for Raditch, says, I don't know about it. But then Alex ticks Emma off by saying that she's contentious and she's pretentious and she's basically holier than thou. Emma beats up on Alex. The fight's broken up. Emma has a swollen eye. Snake tells Emma how to fix it. And then he says, what has gotten into you, Emma? I read your will and all that. And Snake's like, well, yeah, okay, the will. But that's just in case everything doesn't go according to plan. And then that's when Snake's doctor says his chemo worked and he's leukemia free. And Snake is happy and all that. And Emma can finally stop worrying about things. And all that. Yeah, it was funny how Emma beat up on Alex and everyone was just laughing at Alex. But, it may have gotten Alex to be tougher and become more of a bitch. Sorry, that's how I feel. Number 5 on the list with 20 votes was Allie's running away storyline in season 10. So season 10 was contentious. Simpson became principal, and people were taking advantage of his good nature, and, Snake was unreactionary towards Adam's transgender issues and Riley hazing Drew. Of course, on Audra Torres has the misfortune of having both her boys be ruined by Snake. So basically, she decides to attack Snake for his stupidity and all that. And Snake vows to make things better. And then Vegas Night happens, which is a disaster. The students completely ruin everything. Never mind that Fitz decides to bring a weapon to school to try to destroy Claire and Eli. Claire does a fire alarm to alert everyone about this whole thing. And then, Allie and Drew were down in the boiler room. Bianca was also there too. And then Sav and Holly, who were supposed to chaperone this thing as student council president and vice president, end up doing a striptease in a classroom. So basically, the school is under disarray. Snake is told to shape up or ship out. And so he does. He decides to put color-coded uniforms, no extracurriculars, police on duty, the works. Basically, just making Degrassi terrible. It's such terrible state that Jenna can't have the next Teen Star crew film in her school saying that we can't because of my draconian principle. Maybe that was partially why Jenna didn't get to do well in Teen Star. But I doubt it. So anyway, yeah, and then the girls are told to have self-esteem seminar. Audra set that up, well, basically blaming Allie for everything that happened to Drew. Of course, Audra was in her mama bear / Karen phase at that time. Basically protecting Drew when it wasn't necessary and not supposed to happen. So basically, Allie then goes to the seminar, but then decides to switch schools because of how Degrassi's treating her, which her parents agreed to. So they send her to a private school. Unfortunately, Allie gets in trouble for smoking, which is illegal. But we soon learn that Allie's friend set her up. And worse, Allie's parents don't believe in Allie and basically tell Allie to suck it up. Allie, of course, in a traditional Muslim household, I guess, is forced to do a lot of the work while Sav, her brother, doesn't have to do much. And it's kind of pathetic. And all that. Allie gets so angry that her parents just basically shun her and Sav chews her out on it, that she decides to run away. The parents are upset. They try to get Sav to fix the problem. Sav kind of realizes that maybe Allie was right about her parents being not listening to her and all that stuff. But then, Sav's dad tells Sav that, when you have teenagers, you'll understand the pain and all that. But then, of course, the police see some stuff, and Allie goes into a car. And they're like, what? We soon learn that Allie's hiding at Toronto University with Johnny DeMarco. And Johnny tells her, you can't run away from your problems, because that's not good. And Johnny realized the story that he was the accomplice to Drake Lampley stabbing JT in the aorta for some stupid school rivalry. And it haunts him. Allie does go back to her parents, and basically they go through family therapy, and they become better people. Allie gets away with a little bit more, but, it was a good storyline for Allie's character. Too bad that Paris in season 13 just ripped her apart. Number 4, with 32 votes, is The Breakfast Club episode season 3. Speaking of homages in season 3, that's where we'll go next. The Breakfast Club episode. So throughout season 3, throughout a few episodes, Raditch seems to be on a power trip punishing people for things. He punishes Hazel off screen for looking at inappropriate sites on the school computer. You can't do that. Especially at school. Like at school, you can't do that. He punishes Ellie for skipping classes too many times and ruining her co-op possibly. He punishes Jimmy and Toby for changing grades on the school computer because Toby was trying to change Jimmy's grades to make him go to a concert so that, Toby can get in with Jimmy's friend group after JT dumps him off. And then, basically, he does it on the school computer where Raditch basically says, I need you to use some computer skills and all that. But then finds out that Toby's already on the account. Toby squeals on Jimmy. They both get in trouble. And Sean, Raditch has a bone to pick with because Sean insulted Raditch. That wasn't completely it. That Saturday detention thing was partially also because Sean was stealing stuff from Degrassi to impress the Candy Bandits. And with no proof, he had to do something. I already did unpopular opinion about the Breakfast Club episode was it needed, and yes, it was, because it brought a couple of relationships together. So anyway, Raj becomes the principal and all that, having five troublemakers and having to deal with their Saturday shenanigans and all that. Raj goes to work out in the gym with a Swiss ball from Switzerland, as he explains to Hazel. And then logically, the students try to do their own adventures. They go up on the school roof and see Snake talking to Radish because Snake was off with his leukemia treatments. And Radish says the school's in disarray since you've left. And Snake says, they're all good kids, Dan. They're punishing themselves for what they did. All that. He gives a speech to Radish. Radish contemplates it, and then he sees a stone drop down, or he hears something on the roof, so he confronts the students. Toby takes the fall for everything, and Radish lets him go free. Unfortunately, Ellie's tape recorder was spotted, and everyone is upset that Ellie was taping the conversations and all that. I guess in a sense they were upset that Ellie was spying on them, like Raj put her up to it. Fortunately, though, it was found out that Ellie did it for her co-op and not for Raj, which saved Raj's job. But Ellie and Sean become a couple. They're both misunderstood creatures and all that. Jimmy and Hazel become a pair because of this. And poor Toby, he's the odd man out. Well, obviously, 2 boys, 2 girls. There's an extra person. It was well needed. I liked it. It's one of the best episodes of all time. Number 3 on the list with 46 votes is Becky's storyline in season 13, trying to protect her brother / tell the truth. So in season 13, Zoe basically was a bitch. She got to slut shame Maya. Maya got in trouble for writing a song about Zoe and was put in the rubber room, which was kind of stupid by Snake. He was groveling. I think because he realized that Zoe's mom could have clout to destroy him. Wasn't trying to be a people pleaser with Snake sometimes. But Zoe got raped by Luke Baker and a friend Neil. And Luke is Becky's brother. Becky, of course, having her own issues with her Christianity, and Jenna tells her that, she should tone down a bit and be a better person. So Becky was. But, of course, Becky finds out that her brother raped Zoe without her consent and all that. And this is before consent really has been a big thing the past 5 years. So she decides she doesn't know what to do. She sees the evidence. She tries to talk to her parents about the situation, but her parents basically said that she has an honor in the family to protect Luke, even though Becky knows Luke is guilty. They coach her on how to do the witness stand and all that. And Becky still doesn't know what to do. So she decides to not testify. But she is told she has to testify because she could get in trouble. So Becky's still torn. Her family wants her to lie. And Becky says, I know the truth and all that, though. I don't want to hit perjury. You have to do it for the family. So Luke then tells Becky she has to defend him because, Luke helped Becky out when Becky lost their grandmother's ring down the sink when they were kids. But Becky said, no, the next day I went to confess my guilt because that's what I'm supposed to do. Luke basically admits to Becky that Zoe didn't consent. So Becky decides to use that against Luke and, go against her parents trying to get her to shut up and to protect the family. Becky does the right thing. Luke and Neil are put in juvie for 2 years. Her family just basically ignores her for a while. And Becky feels bad. Her family, I think, had a lot to lose. I mean, her dad was a minister. I guess he probably lost his job or something. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. The mother, played by veteran Canadian actress Tara Spencer-Nairn, who was known for being Karen on Corner Gas, was there and basically wants Becky and Luke to get together and all that. Obviously, they can't throw Becky out because they were probably afraid that Becky was going to spill stuff to the cops, and, say all this stuff. So Becky lived with the guilt of not pleasing her family. But she did the right thing by telling the truth on Luke and all that. It was just basically hypocritical Christian faith stuff. Christian fundamentalism, or whatever you want to call it. That, they think they're high and mighty, and then when one of them does something wrong, they got to protect things. It's kind of like the Duggars when Josh sexually abused some girls when he was a teenager, and two of them were his sisters of all people. The Duggars covered things up. Of course, Josh is now in jail for I think 12 to 20 years for child pornography. So the joke was on him. So anyway, Becky's problems were huge because her family lived by the Christian model that you have to protect your own kind, and Becky didn't. Number that was oh my gosh, I screwed up. In the wake of it, I forgot. Well, Becky struggling to protect her brother was number 2. I got it wrong. Number 3 was, well, Becky's number 2. But number 3 is Don't Believe the Hype. What I call one of the most underrated episodes in Degrassi history. Episodes in history, not storylines. But anyway, aka Hazel trying to hide her Muslim heritage, season 2. So it's season 2, and Hazel gets a main storyline, becoming the first supporting character to do so in Degrassi history. Well, next gen history, I mean. So it's International Day, and students get to dress up and do their international cultures. Paige is supportive of her Ukrainian style by wearing a low-cut Ukrainian dress while serving pierogies to Radich. Jimmy does his black culture thing. Spitter is unsure about what he is. Like, he doesn't get any straight answers from his family, and decides to make some food with bits and pieces of heritage, including Kendra being Chinese. Snake doesn't like it. Snake wears a Swedish shirt because Stefan Brogan is Swedish. So anyway, Snake does his job. And, a lot of people were all that. Hazel decides to be Jamaican and all that. But a girl named Farisa, who I think is the greatest one-episode character of all time in Degrassi, says that Ardennes, that's Somalian. And Hazel basically rips Farisa a new one, saying, let's hope Jamaica doesn't bomb Iraq. And also she gives Farisa a fashion ticket for her hijab. And Paige is even shocked, saying that, you've done bad when even I'm offended by it. Paige was just letting her queen bee status just ruin her career. So anyway, Hazel, tries to be Jamaican and all that. She has a Syrian thing in her mind. But worst of all is that Farisa's Iraq display gets vandalized. Hazel's fingered as a suspect because of her insults towards Farisa. Fortunately for her, Raj finds out that no, it was a couple of grade 10 students, and basically Hazel didn't do anything bad. Raj tells Farisa that she could redo her presentation and it will be out in the main foyer for everyone to see, like it or not. And basically tells Hazel that words hurt. Hazel then admits to Farisa while trying to help her out with her project that, yeah, she is Somalian and she was tortured at her old school by some other girls. And Farisa said, well, you learned from them. Meanwhile, the subplot was of JT trying to hide his sewing genius from everyone. He was pretty good at it, much better than Liberty. And Liberty tries to bribe JT into helping her out. They both get caught. JT gets outed. Everyone laughs at them. The boys do, like Toby and Sean. But the joke was on those two and other boys when a group of girls led by Manny and Emma said that, why don't you do some skirts for us? We'll pay you like $25. And basically JT does it, and basically Sean and Toby's jaws drop, and like they should. Don't believe the hype. But yeah, I know. Hazel then decides to do a presentation in Snake's media immersion class about the real her being Somalian and all that. Terry asks about the hijab, and Hazel says, I'm in a position I don't have to wear it except for prayers and all that. But they accept her for who she is, and Hazel had nothing to fear. But believe it or not, Don't Believe the Hype was huge because it was 15 months, after 9/11, so the anti-Muslim sentiment was still there. Kind of still is, but, Degrassi went there, in a sense. And number 1, out of the 240 votes, it got more than 33%, just over 33%, with 83 votes, was Toby's eating disorder in Season 2. It was huge. So before I talk about Toby's eating disorder, let's go through the comments. Zombie Frosty says Hazel was such an underutilized character. Yes, she was. Charmy Finance said Ali running away was my favorite storyline. It reached a peak. People said, I don't know why Toby's storyline was winning and all that. And people said, I wish that Toby's storyline was explored further for the character to get more plots. Yep. So anyway, yeah, a lot of people said Toby's eating disorder. Yeah, this was very underutilized and undervalued. In season 2, Toby has eyes for Kendra, who is Spinner's adoptive sister from China. Adopted sister from China. And basically, they both like manga, they both like stuff. And Toby wants to be with Kendra because he figures that no one else is going to give him a shot. Toby is feted for taking third place at a computer competition, but then the real cheers was for Sean winning a major wrestling competition. And Toby feels left out and says that I'm tired of being a nobody, so he tries to get JT's opinion on how to be a better person. So he decides to join the wrestling team to improve himself. Unfortunately, Toby's in the same weight class as Sean and easily loses. So Toby tries to figure out what to do to stay on the wrestling team. So he decides to lose weight, go at a lesser weight, and become Degrassi's representative. Of course, Toby could have also bulked up and gained weight to get away from Sean, but he probably would have had some other tough guys. So to utilize losing weight, he decides to use diuretics, aka X-Lax. And JT said he tried it, saying that it's a bad idea. So Toby decides to lose weight and try to exercise more. Of course, it doesn't completely work. Toby's not that fit. But the fact of the matter, Toby trying to impress Kendra. And I didn't notice this first run, but the camera would be shaking and all that because it'd be from how Toby approaches things, from his POV. Now, during free time for research, Snake talks to Toby about cutting weight and all that, saying that it is a big issue that's not talked about. Of course, with eating disorders, a lot of the time it's talked about with females, not males. So this was going to turn the tables. So basically they talk about things. And, Toby is playing danger with some. Ashley and JT try to get Toby to stop this charade, but he doesn't. And then Toby ends up fainting during the match. And of course, he's cut for the wrestling team for risking his life, Armstrong puts it. Toby basically said, I screwed up and now everyone's laughing at me. And then JT says, quite the contrary. Lots of people freaked out. Even Sean freaked out about you. And Kendra, obviously, is worried about you, so she cares about you. Now do you feel like a nobody Tobes? And Toby realizes that, yeah, he went too far. Thank goodness for JT and his common sense when it was applicable. By season 3, it wasn't, and leaving Toby high and dry. But yeah, season 2 was big. I mean, Toby was trying to fit in. And I think his relationship with Kendra was kind of a microcosm of him trying to get a relationship because, his mom and dad separated. And Toby probably was scared about losing someone if he lost Kendra. Of course, Kendra would leave in season 4. And Toby had nobody as a girlfriend. I think he didn't have a girlfriend after Kendra. A relationship after Kendra. Holly J wanted to, but Toby shot her down. And that was likable. Man, poor Toby. I feel so bad for him. He is so underutilized. And people just shit on him. And people shouldn't. I'm just saying. That's just what I'm saying.